Story of it's the evil and the ugliness of people's hearts these days is everywhere.
This is Frankie Rose's Think Tank. Here's your host, Frankie Rose.
Okay, just give me 2 seconds here. All right. Just getting this together best I can, you guys. Okay, I'm going to put me over here. I'll put them right there. And if I can find a better streaming supplier, I'm going to, but here we go.
Is every helper, every police officer, whether that's at the local level or the federal level, that it's for every person in this community that shared her story. It's for everyone that fought and continue to fight to bring her home. And we hope one day that she's found. So he has a place. Crystal, their mom, has a place to go and remember her. They should have that right.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you.
I'm just setting it up.
Hi, everybody. Chief. Good afternoon. My name is Ben Agati. The last name is spelled A-G-A-T-I. I'm a Senior Assistant Attorney General here for the state of New Hampshire, currently Chief of the Homicide Unit. With me is Christopher Knowles, Knowles, an Assistant Attorney General also assigned to this matter. And of course, Chief Aldenberg of the Manchester Police Department, who has been here since the beginning. I imagine just briefly, there's a couple of things I can say today. Actually, most of the time I can't tell you folks much. But today, obviously, it's after sentencing. So as you heard upstairs, the court did provide a sentence, and the sentence being essentially, when you add them together from the consecutive nature of how they were imposed, being 56 years to life sentence. These 56 years is consecutive to those that he has already been sentenced to in the other docket matter from last year of armed career criminals offenses, as well as theft by unauthorized taking, and that was an aggregate of 32 and a half to 67 years. So in aggregate here, and I've been asked just a moment ago, I do not have the exact calculation, but certainly based upon the defendant's age at this point, I believe that he would hit his minimum parole date on these at around either 115 or 118 years old. But they are two consecutive sentences. That being said, today is truly about harmony, I would say, and I think you've heard that from all of the different victims' family members.
I'm doing a live, you guys.
Who were able to come forward and provide their statement to the court. The presentation that the state made obviously was trying to make sure the court found a good balance between punishment, deterrent, and rehabilitation. She certainly agreed with what the state's recommendation was, and that is what she has imposed. Again, I think what was also tremendous that you may have seen today is the men and women of the Manchester Police Department who were here, and all of our federal partners, state partners out there who could not be with us, some who were and some who couldn't be here, who helped make this basically possible by going and finding the evidence and presenting that evidence in front of the jury. At that point, I'm very happy to take any questions at any time, if anyone might have one. Go ahead, sir.
At the start of it, you obviously made that offer to Adam to tell you guys where.
Yes, I did not discuss any sort of plea offers that may or may not have been made outside of the courtroom. That was a recommendation. And as you may have heard me say to the judge, it's completely in the judge's control what the sentence would be. But the state was willing to change its recommendation from what it presented to the court if he was going to provide us with where she was. He admitted in his closing statements and through even his opening statements that the jury could find him guilty of falsifying physical evidence and abuse of a corpse directly, which are on point dealing with where Harmony is, wherever she is right now. So with regards to that, I don't know that the argument that somehow maintaining his innocence works when that's what he articulated to the court about those two charges. We were very much hoping that he would share those details. He seems determined to keep those details to himself.
Did you have hope, though, that he might take you up today on that
I
offer?
did, certainly. And I think everybody who has been trying to find her had that exact same hope.
Mr. Gotti,
Yes.
are there any avenues for you to continue to try to get that information at this point?
At this point, I think it's up to the defendant, where the defendant ever chooses to reveal that information to anyone or not. That is his choice. That doesn't mean that the search will stop or that the Manchester Police Department and their partners are going to follow up on leads that come in. But right now, we were really hoping that he would be able to share that information, be willing to do that. He chose not to. That's his right. But that's what he did today.
Is there any update on the search right now? Where it's at right now?
I can tell you, I believe, was it Chief, about 2 weeks ago was the last time that Manchester went out for another search that was done in a different area, similar to the same locations that we've talked about before. Unfortunately, they were not fruitful at the time.
And I thought the judge gave him a suspended sentence on one of the things. Wouldn't that make it 55 years?
No, it would still be 56 because the way that the state's presentation that we originally proposed to the court, it's written in the sentencing memorandum, that 12 months on the abuse of corpse charge was the only one that was going to be served concurrent. So at the same time as the falsified physical evidence charge, the court instead made it to be consecutive but suspended. So it's a consecutive suspended 12 months that's hanging over his head for him to maintain and for the next 20 years have no contact with those families.
So it's the same result.
Practically, it's the same result, yes, with the addition of the no contact order. But that's also something that Department of Corrections may choose to put on him as part of a condition, but that's up to the Department of Corrections to do. So, were there any other questions that I could answer for anyone?
I'd love to talk to the chief.
Certainly, I'm happy to let you.
Chief, we first heard about this story from you 2.5 years ago, this case. It's been a really long road for you. How are you feeling today?
Nobody wins, right? I mean, it's a bittersweet day. The team back in the room, I'm looking at them all now. I said this last time I stood up here. Jack, Max, Lieutenant, Captain Layton, Captain Larochelle, Billy Tuss from the United States Marshal Service, who's been with this case from the get-go, Scott Riley. I don't want to leave anybody out, but yeah, it's a horrible, horrible case. Mr. Montgomery had a chance today to, again, I've said this before, yet another opportunity to do one decent, good thing in his life. And again, he passed that up. So we'll keep working it. We'll keep working hard to do our part to locate Harmony and bring her home. So I'm grateful to the two attorneys sitting off to my right here who have been here from the get-go, and Jesse O'Neill as well, who was with us from day one. These are, I've said it before, these are extremely talented people that work for the state of New Hampshire, the Attorney General's office. I don't think the state realizes how fortunate they are to have people like this that sacrifice many things in their personal life, their own time, after hours, weekends, nights, just like my team does. But so, gentlemen, thank you. Thank you to the team at the back. I'm thankful to the media who's kept this story alive and in the news and kept Harmony's face out there. I think that's critically important. So I'm thankful for that. Yeah, it's not a fun day for Manchester PD. It's not a, we're not going to go back and, be all smiles. We're grateful to the judge, Judge Messer, for hearing us, and for the jury for sitting through what they had to sit through for that period of time. So I'm thankful for the process and grateful to be where we're at. It's been a long road.
Chief, do you think the system has changed at all? Could there be another Harmony Montgomery out there now or in the future?
That's not for me to, Manchester PD can do our part to make sure that doesn't happen. What happens beyond that in the partnerships that we have with other agencies that interact with children, we're working, to keep those relationships positive. And my hope is that this never happens again. And I don't, nobody wants that works in this field or works in the field of children. Nobody sets out for that to happen. So we'll continue to take steps to make sure that this does not happen again in the state of New Hampshire or anywhere else.
You're all set with the chief. If you're all set with us, we want to thank you for your time, and I believe that hopefully there may be some other family members here who are willing to talk with you. I don't know, but thank you very much.
Ben, could you quickly address the appeals process for Montgomery?
The appeals process?
Yeah.
Yes,
You got one?
yes, he certainly has a right to appeal the convictions that he's had here today. He has the right to sentence review, so he may seek that as well. Typically, sentence review is not done until after the appeals are over with. That's typical of how the court will act. But that process will begin. That usually takes anywhere from 24 to 36 months to complete.
Are you aware of him filing or planning to file an appeal?
I have not had a matter that's gone to trial where a person has not filed an appeal afterwards, so I would imagine that he will certainly file an appeal.
If he discloses information about the whereabouts of her release, could that factor into the appellate process?
Likely no. The appellate process is really designed to ensure that the law was followed by the court as the trial went forward. That's what that's designed to address. So if you were to share that information later on, that would be something else that we'd have to address separately.
One more quick question.
Yeah.
There are 2 other weapons trials on the docket for this man.
That's correct. We have a status conference that's scheduled in a couple of weeks.
You will go forward with those.
At this point in time, we certainly want to review all the acts that are going on today. You heard us mention those, that they are still outstanding. And that is certainly something that we'll take a look at and decide what's going to be happening going forward. But I'm not able to give any concrete answer on that status conference. It was enough to prepare for today and get today off the ground. That's another day to prepare for. Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Waiting for anyone else. I have seen reports that Crystal Sorey, the mother of Harmony Montgomery, did interviews outside.
Harmony on the other side of it, which is very important to Jameson. It's very important to us. It's very important to our son that he knows Harmony's story, and he knows his story with her as well, and that doesn't get lost. Sadly, we have too many of these things that remind us of the tragedy and not the celebrations that should still exist. And so it's so sweet, but it's also so tragic.
Today's not a celebration for us. It's just, I think we want to get home and hug our 3 boys and tell them how much we love them and how lucky we are to be their dads.
I also want to say one other thing. If you look back over there, you see officers of the Manchester Police Department, and I can't imagine what it's been like for them to deal with the realities of this. And we are so thankful for the law enforcement, the first responders, the people who kept this in the public eye, the people who've listened, the people who've been searching. Just inside, people were telling us about the searches they're still doing. And that matters. And we are thankful. We know our sons, that will be the bright spot for him when he turns 15, 20, 25, goes down a rabbit hole of what's happened in his life. The bright spot in this will be those who've been out there fighting for Harmony and fighting for him.
You and I have a really hard time processing these details. They're stomaching to hear the gruesome things Adam did to his own daughter, our son's sister, Harmony. But is what Jameson will never forget is every helper, every police officer, whether that's at the local level or the federal level. That it's for every person in this community that shared her story. It's for everyone that fought and continue to fight to bring her home. And we hope one day that she's found. So he has a place. Crystal, their mom, has a place to go and remember her. They should have that right.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, so I'll just see if she did show up, Crystal.
Melaneni.
Lordy, lordy. Justice for Harmony, guys. Wow. Just let me double check. Yeah. So keep her brother in your heart and prayers. You know, I don't know. There will never be true justice for Harmony. She's gone. And this guy, this donor, should never see the light of day again. I hope that they can find what they're looking for and get some peace for that with that. But I don't know that Adam and Kayla left too much to be found. Just my opinion. So thank you ever so much for joining me. I thought that was important to see. You know, we've watched this all the way through. And yeah, keep Harmony in your hearts and prayers. And fly high. Bye.
Dun 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 dun.